You can sleep on the couch from now on, Melissa said, not even looking up from her phone. I stood in the doorway of our bedroom, holding the book I'd just retrieved from my nightstand. The words hung in the air like smoke after a gunshot. She sat cross-legged on the bed, our bed, scrolling through Instagram or TikTok or whatever the hell had her attention more than this conversation. Excuse me. I finally managed. You heard me. She still didn't look up. I need my space. The couch is pretty comfortable. You'll be fine. I'm 34 years old. We'd been married for 6 years, together for 9. This was the bedroom we'd painted together when we moved into this house 4 years ago. I'd spent 3 weekends stripping the old wallpaper while she picked out the perfect shade of gray. We'd christened the room before we even had furniture in it, laughing on an air mattress like idiots in love. Now I was being evicted like a tenant behind on rent. Is there something going on? I asked, though my gut already knew the answer wasn't going to be simple. Did I do something wrong? It's not always about you. Her eyes never left the screen. I just need space to think. Is that so terrible? The casualness of it cut deeper than anger would have. If she'd been upset, if she'd yelled, if she'd thrown something, I could have worked with that. But this cold dismissal, this administrative reassignment of my sleeping arrangements, felt like I'd already been erased. I stood there for another moment, waiting for her to look at me. She didn't. So I grabbed the book and walked out. But I didn't go to the couch. I went to the closet in the hallway, pulled down my old duffel bag, and started packing. The thing about major life decisions is that sometimes they don't feel major at all. They feel quiet, inevitable, like you're not making a choice so much as acknowledging one that's already been made for you. I packed methodically, clothes for a week, toiletries, laptop and chargers, the watch my grandfather left me. I moved through the house like a ghost, and Melissa never came out of the bedroom to check on me. The TV was on now. I could hear some reality show playing through the door. I thought about saying goodbye, thought about explaining. But what was there to say? My wife had just demoted me to furniture, and I was supposed to what? Negotiate for better terms? I left my wedding ring on the kitchen counter. Didn't write a note. Didn't slam doors. I just left. The hotel room was clean and impersonal. 2 double beds, a desk, a TV mounted on the wall. The kind of place business travelers stay when the company's paying. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at my phone. No calls. No texts. It was nearly midnight. I'd been gone for 3 hours, and my wife hadn't noticed or didn't care. I thought about our wedding day. Melissa had cried during her vows, the good kind of crying, the kind that made everyone in the church smile. She'd promised to love me in sickness and health, for richer or poorer. She'd promised to be my partner, my best friend, my home. When had I stopped being any of those things? My phone buzzed. Finally. But it wasn't Melissa. It was her sister, Christine. What the hell did you do? Mel is freaking out. Call me. I stared at the message. Read it 3 times. Then I turned off my phone and went to sleep. The next morning, I woke up to 47 notifications. I turned my phone back on out of habit, and the messages flooded in like a dam had burst. Christine had called 6 times. Melissa's mom had texted. 2 of her friends from work. Even her brother, who I hadn't spoken to in over a year, had sent a message asking if I was okay and if we could talk man to man. Nothing from Melissa herself. I scrolled through Christine's messages first. Seriously, call me. Melissa says you just left? She's crying. What happened? This is so messed up. Just come home and talk to her. The audacity of it hit me like cold water. She's crying. She's upset. As if I'd been the one to blow up our marriage over couch sleeping arrangements. I called Christine back. She answered on the first ring. Jesus Christ, finally, she said. Where are you? Doesn't matter. The hell it doesn't. Mel is losing her mind. She said you just packed up and disappeared without saying anything. That's not exactly how it happened. Then tell me how it happened. Her voice had that big sister authority that probably worked on Melissa, but had never worked on me. She told me to sleep on the couch. Permanently. Like I was some kind of nuisance she needed to file away. So I decided to file myself away somewhere else. Silence on the other end. That's it. Christine finally said. You left because of a fight about sleeping arrangements? It wasn't a fight. That's the thing. There was no fight. She just announced it like she was telling me we were out of milk. More silence. Look, Christine said, softer now. I don't know what's going on with you two, but running away isn't going to fix it. I didn't run away. I made a choice. There's a difference. Where are you staying? A hotel. Which one? Not telling you that. She sighed, long and frustrated. Fine, but you need to talk to her. Whatever's going on, you can't just ghost your wife. Tell her I'll come by this weekend to get more of my stuff. She can text me when she won't be home. You're being ridiculous. Probably. But I'm not the one who started this. I hung up before she could respond. Work was a blessing that week. I could lose myself in spreadsheets and client calls, pretend my personal life wasn't imploding. My coworkers didn't know anything was wrong. I showed up on time, did my job, left when I was supposed to. Normal. Everything was normal. Except I was living in a hotel, and my wife was telling everyone I'd abandoned her. By Wednesday, her mom called. I let it go to voicemail. She left a message asking me to be reasonable and think about what I was throwing away. As if I'd been the one throwing anything away. By Thursday, one of Melissa's work friends somehow got my number and sent a long text about how marriage is hard and communication is key and how I should fight for my relationship. I blocked the number. Friday evening, I got a text from Melissa herself. The first direct communication since I'd left. We need to talk about the house and bills and stuff. Can you meet me Saturday afternoon? Not I miss you. Not I'm sorry. Not I made a mistake. Just logistics. Sure, I replied. What time? 2 p.m. I'll be here. Okay, that was it. The entire conversation. Saturday came too fast and too slow. I'd spent the week in a strange liminal space. Not quite moved on, but definitely moved out. The hotel had started to feel normal. I had a routine. Coffee at the place down the street. Lunch at the deli on the corner. Dinner wherever felt right. I wasn't happy, but I wasn't miserable either. I was just elsewhere. I pulled into our driveway at exactly 2 o'clock. Melissa's car was there, and so was Christine's. Of course. Back up. Melissa opened the door before I could knock. She looked tired. Her hair was in a messy bun, and she was wearing the old college sweatshirt she usually reserved for sick days. Hey, she said. Hey. We stood there for an awkward moment before she stepped aside to let me in. The house looked the same, smelled the same, but it didn't feel like home anymore. It felt like a place I used to live, like visiting your childhood house after someone else has moved in. Christine sat on the couch I'd been sentenced to, with her arms crossed. She gave me a look that was half sympathy, half judgment. Want some coffee? Melissa asked. I'm good. Okay. Well, let's sit. We sat at the kitchen table, the same table where we'd eaten 1,000 meals together. Melissa folded her hands in front of her, and I noticed she was still wearing her wedding ring. So, she started. I think we should talk about what happened. Okay. I didn't mean for things to go this way. I needed space, and I thought. You thought you could just exile me to the couch, and I'd be fine with it. Her jaw tightened. That's not fair, isn't it? Christine cleared her throat from the living room. Maybe I should give you two some privacy. No, stay, Melissa said quickly. Then, to me, I asked her to be here. I thought it might help to have someone else present. A witness. A mediator. I leaned back in my chair. Fine. Mediate. Tell me what's going on, Melissa. Because from where I'm sitting, my wife told me to sleep on the couch indefinitely, and when I decided I'd rather not live like that, suddenly I'm the bad guy. You just left. Her voice cracked. You didn't even try to talk to me. You just packed your stuff and disappeared. What was there to talk about? You made your decision. You needed space. I gave you all the space in the world. That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? She looked down at her hands. I don't know. I was frustrated. I felt like we were just roommates. We barely talked anymore. We barely touched. I thought if we had separate sleeping arrangements for a while, it might. I don't know. Reset things. Reset things, I repeated. By pushing me further away. I didn't think you'd leave. What did you think I'd do? She didn't have an answer for that. Christine spoke up from the couch. Look, I think you both messed up here. Mel, you can't just unilaterally change the terms of your marriage and expect him to go along with it. And you, she pointed at me. You could have stuck around and had an actual conversation instead of just bailing. I tried to have a conversation, I said. She was too busy scrolling through her phone. Melissa's face flushed. That's not fair. You caught me off guard. I caught you off guard by coming into our bedroom. You know what I mean. The kitchen fell silent except for the hum of the refrigerator. Why did you take off your ring? Melissa asked quietly. I looked at my bare finger. Same reason you wanted me on the couch. Seemed appropriate. So that's it. You're just done. I don't know. Are you? No. She wiped at her eyes. No, I don't want this to be over. I don't know what to do. We've been so disconnected, and I didn't know how to fix it, and I thought. You thought making me sleep on the couch would fix it. I thought it might force us to acknowledge that something was wrong. Well, congratulations. Mission accomplished. Christine stood up. Okay, this is going in circles. Let me ask you both something. Do you want to save this marriage? Melissa looked at me with red eyes. I do. They both looked at me. I thought about the last 6 months. The conversations that had become transactional. The dinners eaten in silence. The sex that had gone from rare to non-existent. The way we'd become two people sharing a space rather than two people sharing a life. I thought about the 9 years before that. The good years. The laughter. The adventures. The way she used to look at me like I was the most interesting person in the world. I don't know, I said honestly. I don't know if there's anything left to save. Melissa's face crumpled. But, I continued, I'm willing to try. If you are. Really try. Not just go through the motions. She nodded, wiping her face. Okay. Yes. I want to try. Then we need to do this right. Therapy. Actual communication. No more passive-aggressive couch assignments. A small, broken laugh escaped her. Deal. Christine smiled. See? Progress. We didn't fix everything that day. We didn't even fix most things. But we started. I didn't move back in right away. We both agreed that we needed some structured time apart to figure out what we actually wanted. I stayed at the hotel for another 2 weeks while we found a marriage counselor and scheduled our first session. Therapy was brutal. The counselor, Dr. Patricia Hendricks, didn't let us hide behind politeness or deflection. She made us talk about the ugly stuff. The resentments. The disappointments. The ways we'd both checked out of the marriage without admitting it. Melissa admitted she'd been feeling neglected. My job had taken over my life, and I'd stopped making her a priority. Date nights had disappeared. Meaningful conversations had been replaced with logistics about bills and groceries. I admitted I'd felt taken for granted, that I'd become more of a utility than a partner. Someone to split the mortgage with, someone to handle the yard work, someone to have around but not really engage with. We were both right. We were both wrong. It took 3 months of weekly sessions before I moved back in. And even then, it was tentative. We approached each other like we were dating again, careful and deliberate. We had a schedule for quality time. We had rules about phones at dinner. We had honest conversations even when they were uncomfortable. It wasn't perfect. We still fought. We still had bad days. But we were trying. 6 months after that night, I packed my bags. We were sitting on the back porch watching the sunset. Melissa was curled up next to me, her head on my shoulder. I'm sorry, she said quietly, for what I said that night. About the couch. I know. I was being cruel. I think part of me wanted you to fight for us, and when you just accepted it, I realized how far apart we'd gotten. I'm sorry too, for leaving the way I did, for giving up so easily. She lifted her head to look at me. You didn't give up. You set a boundary. That's different. Is it? Yeah. You showed me that you wouldn't accept being treated like that. I think I needed to see it. I kissed her forehead. We were a mess. We were. Are we still a mess? Probably. But we're a mess together. She smiled and settled back against my shoulder. We sat there until the sun disappeared and the first stars came out, and for the first time in a long time, it felt like we were actually home. Not just in the house, but with each other. Looking back now, I don't regret leaving that night. It was the wake-up call we both needed. If I'd just accepted the couch sentence, if I tried to be accommodating and understanding and swallowed my self-respect, we would have drifted further apart until there was nothing left to save. Sometimes love isn't about staying. Sometimes it's about knowing when to walk away so you can find your way back on better terms. Melissa and I aren't perfect. We probably never will be. But we're honest now. We're present. We're actually partners again. And neither of us sleeps on the couch. Marriage is weird. You promise to love someone forever, but you don't realize how much work forever actually takes. You don't realize that love isn't just a feeling. It's a choice you make every day. Some days that choice is easy. Some days it's the hardest thing in the world. The night Melissa told me to sleep on the couch, I chose myself. And paradoxically, that's what saved us. Because she needed to see that I wouldn't disappear into the background of my own life. That I had limits. That I deserved better. And I needed to see that walking away doesn't always mean giving up. Sometimes it means giving both people the space to realize what they're about to lose. We still see Dr. Hendricks once a month. We still have our scheduled date nights. We still have hard conversations when we need to. But we also laugh again. We talk about things that matter. We make plans for the future that include both of us, not just parallel lives under the same roof. Last week, Melissa asked me if I'd ever forgiven her for that night. I told her the truth. There was nothing to forgive. We were both drowning in a marriage that had stopped working, and neither of us knew how to ask for help. She tried to create space in the only way she knew how, and I set a boundary in the only way I could. We were both just trying to survive. But now we're trying to thrive. And that makes all the difference.